Hello, this is OverlordBou, and we're back with SAT Score, and today we'll be going over the recommended lineups of the Clan Battle Season 16. We all know what time it is Clan Battle Season again, and this Clan Battle Season will be going up until right before COTS, so fun for everyone. So we'll be going over the recommended lineups that we'd recommend. I'm going to be going over like the basic ships, for the lineups, and then he will be doing a more detailed on the Typhoon and Hurricane level. So I'll start it off. So with the recommended lineups, it's usually recommended where you have 2 BBs, 3 cruisers, and 2 DDs. Since currently it is tier 10 and there's a total of 7 ships. Usually for the 2 BBs, you want 1 durable / aggressive BB and 1 BB covering cross shots. For the 3 cruisers, you usually want 1 to 2 radar cruisers with 1 auxiliary cruiser, which role depends on what the team wants. The 2 DDs, you usually want 1 through 2 the cap contesting, and then 1 rotating DD back up. Now, examples of a lineup would be here. So you can have a Kremlin / Schlieffend on the attacking side, pushing up to get shots if needed. And then literally on any other BB middle or wide flank, getting cross shots can also defend against a push. That would be like an Ohio or a Yamato. Anything that's a good sniping wise. The cruiser examples would be like a Petro, aggressive side, put in forward positions. It's literally almost impossible to kill a Petro. Those things are literally mini battleships. Moskva / Stalingrads are another good radar cruisers, should help defend the cap and provide more firepower. Now, the third cruiser depends on what the team wants. You can have the Napoli, which is an aggressive cruiser, can push off the flank. The Fenzia is a good anti-DD firepower, should be paired with the capping DD to help defend or be aggressive. The Goliath can kite and whittle down the Russian radar cruisers. I do love me a good Goliath. Oh man, those things are so much fun to play. The Stalingrad is a 12-kilometer radar, but worse survivability than a Moskva, so it's mostly recommended if you don't have a radar DD. Now, for the Des Moines, is for the extra radar but worse survivability, mostly recommended if you don't have a radar DD. Now, for the DD, it would be like a small end, a radar DD for contesting caps or fighting DDs, extremely overpowered. The Ragnar is inferior in this role, but can serve as a substitute. Ragnars are very strong anti-DD DDs. So if you put them on a flank, it's going to be able to bully any other DDs whenever it has its radar. The Daring is the closest capping DD alternative, but it does not have a radar. Now, you can also use a Kleber / Marceau, the fast DDs that can react to enemy movements. Now, before we talk about the Typhoon and Hurricane lineups we recommend, this would be a great opportunity to mention this video's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes covering all different sorts of skills. Skillshare can help you make 2022 a year of new learning, growth, and connection through creativity. Have a specific skill you're trying to learn? Skillshare is the perfect place to start. From photography and illustration to graphic design, freelancing, and more. You can find classes that will match your goals and interests. My interest, of course, is around YouTube and Twitch, so I enjoy the class YouTube Success Script, Shoot, and Edit with Marquise Brownlee. It helped me a lot on how to edit on YouTube, which helps out the content for y'all to enjoy. Now, the first 1,000 people to use the link will get 1 month free membership, so make sure to use the link in the description down below. Now, without further ado, I'll let SAT Score talk about the lineups for this Clan Battle season.
Alright. As this season has the same rules as last season, we're seeing most of the same lineups. For example, a common Typhoon / Hurricane lineup consists of Kremlin. Kremlin is usually on the aggressive flank, and especially is well suited to this season because there are a couple of close range maps where Kremlin absolutely shines. We've seen a lot of different second battleships. Like I've seen Montanas, I've seen Ohios, I've seen Bourgognes. A lot of clans also try incomparables. But as long as you have a second battleship and you have a good idea of what you're using it for, you really can't go wrong. It depends more on what kind of team comp your team is running. For cruisers, you have the Petropavlos, pretty much a staple of every competitive team. Moskva is also fairly common, and it's generally preferred over Stalingrad due to Moskva's superior survivability. I have seen a few Stalingrads, but that's mostly as a third radar cruiser, and especially on teams that just don't have a Smolensk. Napoli is also a very common pick, as she is a very good aggressive cruiser due to her excellent concealment and smoke, so she can go in, be aggressive, and then turn out if something goes wrong. I've occasionally seen other cruisers like Goliath as of course, the kiting cruiser, a couple of Venezias, and some teams do have Des Moines in specific positions, but those are very specific lineups. For destroyers, we have, of course, Smolensk. Pretty much almost every team I've seen is running a Smolensk, and that's just because it's the best destroyer at being a destroyer. Can radar, fight other destroyers, can sit on caps all day, outguns everything. It's just if you're a destroyer and you're fighting a Smolensk, it's not very fun. The last ship tends to be a Marceau or a Kleber, and those both of them essentially just rotate around and quickly help out the other side. It's kind of a rotating ship that a team can call upon if they need to quickly reinforce one side or another. Of course, this is at Typhoon and Hurricane, and these teams are expected to be able to field almost any lineup they wish, with only the strategizing part really kind of limiting them. But I know that a lot of clans at the lower leagues may struggle with ship availability, so I do have another example lineup for teams that may not have like some of the limited time premium ships. So Kremlin is still a very good choice for the same reasons I mentioned above. Basically, shove it into certain positions and laugh as you cannot die. The second battleship, the battleships are really the least affected by availability because aside from Kremlin, your second battleship can literally be just about anything. Petropavlos is another staple cruiser. As I said, it's pretty easy to grind, and any competitive team, any good competitive lineup will feature a Petropavlos. The Des Moines will actually work fine at the lower tiers. I find that aim is not quite as good, so not as many teams are good at punishing Des Moines. You can put her into really good spots and radar spots, or just use her DPM to kill everything. A Salem can work as a substitute, but keep in mind the Salem's lack of radar range. It will come to bite you in certain maps. For cruisers, if you get the Moskva, which is available for about 240k coal, she's very good. She's a very good pick and should be your second radar cruiser. If that's not available, then Des Moines will be okay. Venezia, Goliath will be good picks as well if you want a kiting cruiser. Napoli is available for coal, so you can pick her up. Or she could also be available for about 35,000 doubloons, depending on the week. The destroyers is what most teams are going to struggle with. As Smolensk is no longer available, I expect a lot of the mid-tier teams to kind of struggle finding Smolensk players. Ragnar could work, but it's a steel ship and it's locked behind steel, and her concealment will bite her in a lot of situations. So if you have a Ragnar, you could play it. I would not recommend substituting for YY. YY just doesn't it's radar. It does have radar, but it literally can't do anything else. It's just not worth the ship slot at that point. So for your two destroyers, I'd still recommend the Daring. The Daring is one of your best tech tree options, as she is extremely maneuverable, can dodge shots no problem. Her only problem is just lack of radar, but You gotta make do with what you have. And of course, Clever, so you can rotate your destroyer around and quickly reinforce certain problem areas. Bo, do you have anything else to add?
Nope, that would be it. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and thank you for our sponsor Skillshare for sponsoring this video. This is OverlordBou, and we'll talk to y'all later.